Fueled by Deathcast.
We are thinking about going back to the moon, 2024. I think that's a very ambitious date. I would love to see that happen, which means that the current crop of astronauts, which are having to fly Soyuz to get to International Space Station and back, they will have the opportunity to fly to the moon.
Which is, wow.
And that would be amazing. And it's also a dress rehearsal for what they're going to do with Mars.
Right.
And it was about 3 years ago, when I would visit schools and talk to the kids, especially middle schools, I would talk to the kids and I would say, we think that the first person that's going to step on Mars is in the 7th grade. That was 3 years ago. Wow. Now, that has slid a little bit, so I would imagine that right now the thinking is that the first person that's going to step on Mars is in the 9th grade.
Wow.
So it's not quite one for one.
Right.
But when you walk into a high school and you say that, all of a sudden all the freshmen are going, what?
Yeah.
And I'm going, yeah, I think so.
One of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be one of you. The other thing, and I emphasize this to kids about you sometimes your dreams seem crazy, right? None of the guys that walked on the moon, when they were growing up, the job of astronaut did not exist.
Right.
And yet all these guys ended up walking on the moon. And it's like, I think about that, and the really, really cool thing about those Apollo astronauts, I knew two of them personally, okay?
That's awesome.
And
which ones? Can you say?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I can. Vance Brand, who was one of the last Apollo rookies, and he was in the room when Neil and Buzz landed on the moon. And I got to spend a day with Buzz Aldrin.
Oh, wow.
And we were on a panel of experts together.
Wow.
And I caught him a couple of times when I was answering a question. He thought that he was going to get the bureaucratic answer every time. And I caught him a couple of times, looking up at me and going,
That's cool.
And afterwards, he insisted on having photo taken with me.
Oh, wow.
And I have that photo, of course.
Of course. Right? Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was a great day. It was a great day. And I think our last email was probably about 5 years ago,
Yeah.
and he still remembers me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, it's pretty amazing.
But back to what you were saying, it is incredible to think that, like people like Buzz, he was just a pilot, he wasn't looking at I'm going to be an astronaut, because that didn't even exist.
Yeah.
And these kids in 9th grade might be the first people on Mars, and that never existed.
So there's this funny story. Buzz is the one that figured out how to do space rendezvous. Okay, that was his PhD at MIT. Okay,
wow.
So then he's the one that has to go to the moon. They're sending him to the moon. It's like, okay, this is for real. Okay,
right.
So he goes. The amazing thing is, if you go look up his PhD dissertation, it's online. You can find it. In the dedication, he talks about, that I could be one of the people that are going to use this.
Oh my gosh.
And here he is. He's on the first crew that lands on the moon. He's the second man on the moon. And that is so, to me, the serendipity of all of that coming together like that is just so incredible. That's the amazing part of this story.
Yeah.
Guys like Neil Armstrong, he was the test pilot's test pilot.
Yeah.
X-15 beforehand. Just fantastic pilot.
Yeah.
And a fantastic engineer. And I did meet him once. He was just an airplane crazy guy.
Yeah.
He did not particularly care to talk about landing on the moon. He wanted to talk about flying airplanes.
That's so crazy.
He wanted to talk about flying
but you've been on the moon. He's like, yeah but...
There's actually a great quote by him. He said that it was surprising even to him that he had never had a dream of being on the moon.
Wow.
In all the years since, he had never had a dream about having been on the moon.
Wow.
It didn't, that wasn't...
Didn't Crazy.
That wasn't it. But the ability to pilot and land the thing on the moon, and that Apollo 11 landing was, it was dicey because the place that they had targeted for him was a boulder field.
Yeah.
It was death. And he had to overfly all of that before he found the place, and he found a place to set it down, a safe place for he and Buzz. And there's I can only imagine what the elation in their minds when that happened. All the transcripts say, you know, they turned and looked at each other and they shook hands and slapped each other on the back because it was like, we're here, we did it, we're here. Yeah, that was just mind blowing. Must have been mind blowing.
You know, on all those guys, it's just, I'm a big proponent of, and actually talking about with Buzz and what he wrote in his paper, I'm a big proponent of, if you say it out into the universe, you are willing it into existence. You know, like whether or not it does come to fruition is a little bit on you, but it is a little bit on the universe as well. So for him to write that in the paper, it's almost like that put him on the path. Just that one sentence. You know, and again, that harkens back to NASA. That the idea of it doesn't exist, say it's going to exist, and then make that exist.
How can you do that? Right?
Yeah, exactly.